All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Xposure Runs The Podcast. I'm your host, Mustafa. Today, we have a special guest that goes back to about 2013, maybe 14, when I first moved to the south suburbs. He's the current head coach of Prairie Hills Middle School with a ongoing 35-0 record. He is the defending state champion in his first year of coaching. The director, CEO, head coach, snack provider, van rider, sometimes referee, and definite OG big brother of his own organization, God's Gift AAU organization. One of a handful of trainers who does it the right way, very detail-oriented, holds his players accountable, goal-oriented. But here's the part right here where me and Scooter, like, we close, but sometimes because he had, and I don't know if he still does, he had a family member that played for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes.
Does he still play for the Cowboys?
No, he don't play for the Cowboys.
Okay. I remember when he first got drafted. I remember how hyped your family was.
Yeah.
As a resident Eagle fan, I got to tell you how disappointed I was. I was happy that he got drafted, but to the Cowboys, I was not.
Yeah.
But want to welcome to the show, Coach Lachon Scooter Nichols. Appreciate you being on the show, brother.
Pleasure.
Man, like it's been. But like I said, I think I've known you since about 2013, 2014. You were one of the first trainers that we took Xavier to when he started to turn that corner from he plays basketball to like, oh shit, we got something here.
Yeah.
We got something here.
Yeah.
One of your first, and I don't know if it was the first, but one of your first where you was training at was in the Matson Auto Mall.
Yep.
You had a spot up there that used to be Hertz.
Yeah, it used to be a Hertz and there used to be a Lincoln dealership.
They had a whole basketball court up there. He laid the floor down so the kids could come in there. He definitely was one of the first trainers that I knew that had purchased the Vertimax machine.
Yeah.
Didn't know nothing about it until I saw you bring it out to try to help Zay with his vertical lift. And so I want to tell this story. We was talking about it off air before we get into the question. I want to tell this story. So Zay was playing when we first we knew nothing about AAU basketball prior to moving to Chicago. When we came here, we started playing for Pat and Sakita Cooper with the Illinois Blaze and Coach Tillery and I forget the other coach's name. And please forgive me because I know he's going to see this. He follows the platform and everything. His name is escaping me right now. But anyway, about 2 years into playing with the Blaze, and everything was great. Everything was going great. Zay had a great time. He's a very loyal kid. Playing with Diggy Mackay, playing with Donovan and JB before all of them, right? Yeah. You had Kate and all of them was playing on the same team. And so going into maybe the second or third year, I was looking to have Xavier just kind of expand a little bit more. Like on that was a loaded Blaze team with Mackay and Diggy running the show. And I wanted to see if Xavier could handle, let alone become his own entity, right? And not necessarily, and I say this not in a negative way, and not just be in the shadow of other players, other great players.
Right.
And so you was having tryouts for God's Gift over in Matson Rec, and I showed up, and I paid the fee, and had Xavier try out. Now for a minute of tryouts and skill work, and then eventually y'all got to breaking the kids down to do some games so y'all can evaluate them. You didn't even know we was there for a minute. You didn't even know we was there, and then of course towards the end, Scooter and his team was kind of like ranking the kids and they had like little name things on them, and then Scooter brought me over to the side and he said, what are y'all doing here? And I'm like, we trying out. And he was like, well, aren't y'all playing with the Blaze? I said, well, we wanted to just kind of see what was going on. Yeah. And he says to me, listen, I'd love to have Xavier. I'd love to have him. We can kind of build a team around them. I got some good players. I would love nothing more to coach him. But I'm not going to select him. And I'm like, what? And he's like, no, I'm not going to select him. I'm like, well, why? He was like, because, the relationship that we have, as a community with Pastor Keita and Eric, of course, because y'all go to the same church, right? Victory. Yep.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm not willing to mess that relationship up with all of us. And initially I was like thrown off, like what, like what? And I didn't understand that at the time, and it didn't take me long to grasp what you said. But a lot of people don't know that. They don't know that we stayed with the Blaze for another year and then eventually did go to the Illinois Wolves. But we went back to the Blaze because you wouldn't select Xavier for your program because you didn't want to mess that relationship up.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that.
Like Xavier was an exceptional talent when we first saw him, because when he came, he was one of the bigger kids in the Madison community.
Yeah.
And when you came to the tryouts, I couldn't believe it, because I'm like, you were blazing. They were doing well.
Yeah.
They were doing well, and I wanted Xavier to come over, but like I said, Eric was a brother of mine, so I didn't want to mess up. And Sharita and Patch, they were really family to me.
Right.
So I kind of took to heart, like, no, I'm not that type, because AAU is cutthroat.
It's very cutthroat.
You can have, I know, because a lot of people come and take my players after I develop them. So I believe in karma, so I left that alone. Plus, I had a profound respect for you, and and I know you're a loyal dude, but I know what you was trying to do with your son.
I felt like that situation was very. It kind of showed a lot about you, and keep in mind, like, that was kind of like the beginning of our, just friendship and relationship. Yeah. We knew each other just from being at Madison. We kind of ran into each other a couple times. Yeah. Obviously, we knew the same people, which we always ended up in the same rooms together. But that was like our really first opportunity to really solidify any type of relationship one way or the other.
Yeah.
And it was very profound. And again, not a lot of people know. I don't even think Eric knows that. But I do know that word did get back to Pastor Keita and them about it, and nothing came about it. Again, Pastor Keita has, they run a very respectable, very good, family-oriented program, and like you, like, people come and steal their players as well. And it was my first test, or my first, just the whole business of AAU, and like you said, it's very cutthroat. First of all, you don't realize the money aspect, and if you're not playing for a shoe team, it's a lot of money involved in having your child play. But then your child gets to a certain plateau, and the money is supposed to decrease, if you will. When you have what is considered the grassroots organizations, yourself and Pat Sakita with the Blaze and other organizations, you have to understand that the money is important. It's important to help maintain y'all organizations. It's not important to line y'all pockets. No, it's like how y'all are able to put these teams in some of the, all right, y'all going to end up playing against the Mac Urbans and the Team Roads and the Mean Streets and the Wolves and all those other teams that have those shoe brands. But in order to do that, y'all need the money to be able to travel, to pay those registration fees, because those teams I named, they get in for free. They want them there, but y'all have to pay to get into them brackets, some top brackets. So when you were starting God's Gifts, what was the thought behind why you wanted to start it, and just kind of like talk about the entire process of starting it?
About 20 years ago, I had this vision that God gave me for God's Gift, and it was basically to see, we see kids play basketball. It's a gift to watch them play in their respective sports, and I said, it was a vision that He gave me to teach kids basketball, because I love basketball and sports, and so I said, why not start my own organization? Because I was always coaching. I was with Next and a few other programs.
That's Coach Kent and them, right?
Yeah, no, well, that's no, I know Jason. Jason too.
Okay, I'm sorry.
But it was another AAU back then when my nephew Pierre was playing in, so I always coached him. And I said, I'm going to start my own organization, which I started in 2014. And I said, it's a gift to watch these kids play in their respective sport. So I started off with one team, ended up with 2 7th to 8th grade teams, and then after that, the next year I went up to 9. 9 teams, and we traveled. We playing a lot of, we was playing a lot of local. Then we started getting bigger. We started venturing out of state because we wanted to get better exposure for the kids.
On a couple tournaments that I was at with Xavier when he played for. Now he has now moved on to some of the shoe teams with the Wolves, and then he was playing with another team after we left the Wolves, the Stars, and then he ended up playing for Hoops for Health. I saw y'all at a couple of tournaments that was like, oh shit, okay, I see you bringing your kids out to get this smoke.
Yeah.
And y'all was giving out smoke.
Yes.
y'all was giving out smoke. Y'all was frustrating a lot of high-ranking either shoe teams or high-ranking grassroots teams where y'all was putting belt to ass to a lot of teams.
Well, yes, we were. Yes, we were. We was one year we was averaging 100 points a game. Beating people pretty handily. We was beating some teams that haven't lost in years. But people, they never respect us. But I got a lot of respect in other states. But here in Illinois, for some reason, they just look at my program and be like, oh, y'all playing God's gift. That's finna be easy. But it don't be the truth to that.
I don't know if you remember one year y'all played the Wolves. And when Zay was playing with the Wolves. And the Wolves did end up winning. But it wasn't by a lot.
Yeah.
It wasn't by a lot. I forget who was on the team that Zay and one of your better kids, I can't remember his name, they was going at it.
Oh, yeah.
They was going, your teams play hard. They play tough.
Yeah.
So one of my first questions, like just kind of to circle back to the coaching, who's your Mount Rushmore of coaching in Illinois?
Oh, man. I'll put, it's high school or just period?
Let's start with high school. Do 2 high school, 2 overall.
I'm gonna go with Don.
Okay.
Don as one, and
You're talking about Houston from?
Yeah, Don Houston. Don Houston from Hillcrest. And I like Tim. I like what Tim Blankston do.
Okay.
Over there at Tim. I've been watching him for a while.
Okay.
And I like what he doing. Todd too. Todd kind of in the mix of that. Todd Gillespie.
Okay. I've heard his name a lot.
Yeah. Grammar school. I don't know if you know Kenye Beach.
No, I'm not familiar.
Yeah, Kenye Beach was one of.
What school?
Chicago. It's in Chicago Heights.
Okay.
Chicago Heights. He was a pretty good. He was a dope player, but he also a good coach. Let me see my last one. Myself.
We've had a lot of coaches up here, and they always play homage, and they always are very humble, and they always very respectful to their coaching peers. None of them have selected themselves. Yeah. And, I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
I'm glad you did.
A lot of people tell me that, because I don't pat myself on the back. I'm not
you don't.
self.
You don't.
No.
You don't. You don't pat yourself on the back enough.
Credit. Yeah.
Enough. Tell us about your playing days. High school, college. Where'd you go to high school?
I went to Hillcrest.
Did you?
Yeah, I
did not know that.
Yeah, I graduated from Hillcrest High School.
Okay.
I played my freshman year, A and B team, sophomore year. Junior year, I didn't even try out, man. I was in the streets.
Okay. All right, respect.
Doing my thing, but my senior year, I came back, tried out. We had, man, those years of high school, man, we had the best team around Hillcrest. We had a bunch of guys, Greg Simmons, Emmett Smith, Walter LaShore, Ryan Roulette. We had man.
You had a whip.
Man, we had a whip. I think we only lost maybe 1 or 2 games all our years.
Okay. Okay. Who was the head coach then?
Tom Capel.
Okay. Okay. Did you play in college?
No, actually, I went to Olivet my first year, and they was trying to get me on the team because I was really good. I was smart.
No. I did my homework. Well, even before this interview, I mean, up to meeting you and building our relationship, I know you could play.
Yeah.
I know you could play. You could play. What type of player were you when you played?
I was a gritty player. I love defense. Hung my hat on defense. I can score, but I like to play defense and shut down the best player. sometimes, you know, a lot of people look at me like, man, he's small.
Right,
short.
right. I was going to
But
ask
I
you
go
about that.
upstairs. I used to go upstairs.
Did you?
Yeah, I go upstairs. I stick I used to stick people that was 6'3", 6'4". They were like, I got a mouse in the house.
Okay.
But then, you know, they see, they're like, no, they respect.
Okay. How would Coach Scooter coach Coach Scooter?
I will coach myself very hard. I'll be very hard on myself as I am on kids. I'll be even harder on myself to push me to the limits that's beyond limits.
Is I'm not Hillcrest, I'm sorry. Is Prairie Hills your first coach, like head coaching, other than your AAU organization as far as schools go? Is Prairie Hills your first school coaching gig?
Yes, it is. My very first.
So talk to us about how that came about, and just kind of talk to us about that experience that you had. Because not many coaches win a championship in their first year.
Yeah. Funny story. I trained Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, hour and a half, 2 hours out of the day. Had my AAU, so I got my own businesses. So I was just laying in my bed, and
That's that hustle mentality too.
yeah, it's like I'm just laying in my bed, and I get a call. Shout out to Nichol. Nichol is the one that threw my name in the hat.
So Nick plays behind the scenes with a lot of stuff.
That's
A lot of people don't know that.
That's a brother,
so
man.
he's definitely an ally for me.
Yeah, he's a brother.
So
man.
go ahead.
And so he called me, and he was like, "Man, I threw your name in the hat, man." And another shout out to Miss Lauren Gladue, which was our principal last year.
Okay.
Threw my name in the hat, and I got my bed. Was like, "We got an interview up. We want you to come up here to Prairie Hills, and they looking for a coach, you know, to help, you know, coach them to a championship." So when I interviewed, she was like, "Yeah, I want you to come here. I want to win a ring in my first year," because this was her first year
Okay.
being a principal here.
Because Prairie Hills had won 2 years prior.
Yeah, well,
when,
they 18 and 19.
okay, so 3 years prior.
Yeah.
That's when I remember Marlon was over there.
was the head
Shout out
coach
to
over
Marlon
there.
because he
Yeah.
had his boys over there.
Yeah, he did.
Yep.
Marlon Carr. That's another one of my brothers.
Definitely,
man. Oh,
definitely.
that's
Shout
my
out to
boy.
Marlon.
Yeah, and so when I got there, you know, at first I was gonna come on as a volunteer because they couldn't. You know, you have to be like on the board to be in a district.
I know.
So she was like, "No, we finna work on that. We finna get you in and have you as a head coach, not just a volunteer." Because I was just gonna take it and be there because I love being around kids. I love helping kids. So it wasn't nothing to me to
Just go
coach.
volunteer.
Yeah, it just wasn't nothing. But Dre Lowry, which was supposed to be the head coach of the 7th grade team, he was already over at TF North.
Okay.
And he was over there coaching with them, so he really couldn't take on the task. So shout out to him. He handed it over to me. He said, "You know what? I believe in you." He's like, and we brought you on board to get us a championship, and I believe you're going to get us a championship. And that's how it came about, me being at Prairie Hills, from those 3 people, but mainly Nick. Nick was the one that put my name in it.
It's nothing like people believing in you sometimes when not necessarily you don't believe in yourself, but like you just have you're not really kind of thinking, but when people are kind of like, "No, I think you could do this."
Yeah.
You like, "Oh yeah, you know what? I actually can do this."
Yeah. And
like,
I actually been trying to get into schools, and nobody would never would, you know, and I'm not, you know, begging for it, but I, you know, God do everything at his appointed time, because I always want to get into school, high school. Like right now, I want to get into my next venture. I want to be a high school, you know.
I was going to ask you about that. Is the Prairie Hills segue for Coach Nichols high school and then eventually college? Do you want to extend up that?
Yes,
Okay.
I want to go all the way up. It's to the highest level, even to the NBA. I got a few offers, but it's out of state in Florida. I got 3 from 3 prestigious schools. You know, I'm not going to too much, you know, say nothing about it, because I like to. I'm going to speak it in existence, but I'm just waiting. But I played against some schools this year in Florida with my AAU, and we beat this team that they haven't lost in years. They was a international team, so they play professional, and we beat the crap out of them. And they haven't lost in like 5 years, and we beat them. And the guy, he took notice to it, and he's a big time guy in Florida, and he took my information, and he been putting my name in a hat, and
people been reaching out.
Oh man, they've been reaching out like crazy.
Okay, you are currently coaching, arguably the top 8th grader in the state.
In the country.
Matter of fact, in the country.
Yeah.
Definitely the top 8th grader in the state.
Yes.
Arguably the top 8th grader in the country.
Yes.
And there's no argument among us.
Yes.
Like, he's the top 8th grader in the country.
Not at all.
But in the state, okay, it's still no argument among us.
Yeah.
Talk to
America.
us in America. In America. Tell us about that young man. And we had him up here on the podcast, of course, and fantastic family. Very humble kid.
Very.
But he is a fucking beast.
She's
Like, talk, and you train him.
Yeah, I train her, yeah.
Which I did not know until I saw some stuff recently.
Yeah.
But talk to us about that young man.
Man, he is, first of all, he is a very, very, very humble man. He don't carry himself like he's no bigger than nobody else.
At all.
He treats everybody with respect.
Everybody.
From 1 to 15 on our team. So shout out to Cheryl and Tommy, I have a very good relationship with them. They're doing a marvelous job with that kid. You know, I love their family. Mm-hmm. He comes to work every day. He comes to school. First of all, he's a straight A student.
Talk about that.
He's the only one
on the team with straight A's.
With straight A's.
With all due respect to all of your other players, all of their parents who are going to eventually see this, that young man is by far your star player.
Star player.
Straight A's.
Straight A's. Like no B's.
Straight A's.
Straight A, no A minus. Straight A's. I know because I check their grades.
Of course.
I go there. They'll tell you I pop up in their classroom. So he's not. And when we have practice, I always get in a circle. I always talk about what happens for the day. Some kids get in trouble. We talk about it and we do this and that. And a lot of them try to compare themselves. And I'm like, well, to compare yourself, and there's no knock to none of the other kids because I love them all.
I know.
From 1 through 15. But he works hard. He puts in the work, not just on the court, off the court. He trains hard. He do all his work. So it's like you can't put yourself in the same class if you're not doing the same
thing.
work.
Mm-hmm.
It takes effort. And that's all basketball is energy and effort.
That's all it is. So we had him up here on the podcast, and he first of all has been the first and so far the only middle school player who's ever, because we are a high school platform. So he came up on it, but this is how we came about. I was invited to an event that Larry Daniels was.
My boy, shout out.
Shout out to Larry. He was doing an event. Actually, he has an event today, as a matter of fact. But Hoop Hard or Get Off the Court, I think it's called. And so they had an event down at 167 where I do the showcase at. And I had already seen video of the kid. I didn't know him. I had already seen video of the kid on damn near every last one of my social media platforms. Every time I open up Instagram, every time I open up Twitter, every time I open up Facebook, there is a video from one of the major videography companies that has a video of him. And so I'm like, damn, okay. So he came in with headphones on, and the first thing I did was I watched how people reacted to him, right? From adults on down to the kids. And the adults in this city, with all due respect as an outsider, sickening.
Very.
They're fucking sickening. But he laughing because he know I'm about to go off on a tangent. So I'm not. But I watched them look at him as he's coming in, right?
Yeah.
And just scowls on their faces, very it's kind of like they watching him with a scowl, and then they'll lean over and talk some shit to somebody. Of course, I don't know what they're saying, but you
can feel it.
You can see it.
You can tell.
You can see it.
Yeah.
So then I watched the kids. They kind of all gravitated to him.
Yep.
But what I liked about it was he welcomed them all. It wasn't like he ain't shunned them off. And obviously there were some kids there like Ethan and some of the other higher level kids that arguably could be on his that are on his level. Not could be, but they are on his level.
Yeah.
And shout out to Justin and Ethan and their family, right? And they just kind of like dapped him up. He dapped everybody up. He just was on the bench. He was like talking. He was having a good time.
Yep.
You don't expect that from these prodigy type kids.
No, you don't.
And so I'm watching him throughout the event, even on the court. Like he's far and away better than everybody on the court.
Yep.
But his attitude wasn't I'm better than you.
Better than you.
It's I'm better. I know I'm better.
Yeah.
But it's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. That's how he carry himself, bro. He
was a great kid. He was a great interview.
He's amazing, man. And what I love about him is, cause see, I talk to him mentally, cause I can give him a little bit what I'm giving him with training, and do things, but I talk to him mentally and his mind to prepare him. Like I tell him about a month ago, we was talking at training. I told him, you have the magnitude of a Michael Jordan and a LeBron James, not at the standard of how you play, but how you can bring people to games.
And let me tell you something else. And I hate saying this about our black children. I hate it. He is very well articulated.
Yeah, very.
He takes his time with his answers.
Yeah.
He speaks very thoroughly.
Yep.
And his responses very well mature beyond his years.
Yep.
As it relates to him just being in 8th grade. He just carries himself. I saw him last night at the game.
Yeah.
And this is what I love about him and kids like him, particularly these prodigy kids. He respects his elders. Like he saw me before I saw him.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting, Bo was recording the game, and I'm sitting there with Xavier. Mm-hmm. And I actually, matter of fact, he came over and dapped Xavier first. Uh-huh. And I kind of saw it out the corner of my eye. Again, I didn't even know it was him. And then he came and reached around, and I'm like, oh, hey, there, what's going on?
What's up?
And then I seen Tommy and his other son. So, fantastic family. As far as a player go, he reminds me of Day.
Yeah, I did.
He reminds me of Day a little bit. Day at his age was a little slimmer, because I remember when Day played at is it Parker?
Yeah, he played for Parker.
Was it Parker? So Day and Xavier went downstate for like this All-Star game thing. And Day was there, so he was a little bit slimmer. Darius got a nice stocky frame to him.
Yeah, he's solid.
He's solid. If he get a little height on him. He's nice now. If he get a little height on him, and I know it's a bidding war of high schools.
Oh yeah.
That's like that want to get after him.
Yeah. Shout out to Day.
Definitely. He's doing this thing at Kansas State.
He another kid that I've been knowing since he was a kid. When he done playing with fire, he would come play with me. A lot of kids come play.
We did too.
Yeah.
I just put up a video not too long ago when we played with you, Zay and Diggy.
Yeah.
Played with you at this one game, and y'all just destroyed a team. It was crazy. So you said that Prairie Hills is your first head coaching job. Why did you get into coaching, and why Prairie Hills? Well, you kind of already spoke to why Prairie Hills, but why did you decide to get into coaching? Because you already had a pretty good lock on the community as it relates to basketball and training. You had the respective coaches and players and parents. Why did you decide to get into coaching?
It's just I love teaching. It was something that God put me here to do. I love it. It's a passion of mine. So I'm working in my passion. So that's what drives me. Sometimes a few times I want to give up, because it's hard dealing with parents. You know what I'm saying? And they can the kids, that's the easiest part because they understand. But it's the parents that try to live through their kids instead of letting them be who they are and letting the coaches coach.
How do you deal with that? All right, so we just talked about Darius, right? And we talked about Sharon Tommy.
Yeah.
About how now he is the next coming of the next probably best guard to come out of the state of Illinois,
yes,
right?
Is.
And you have two parents who, are humble, they stay out the way, but then you might have a kid. I don't know if you deal with this, but I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
You have a kid who maybe is not on Darius' level, or who may not be on Darius' level, and then you have a kid who's absolutely not on Darius' level. Those sets of parents seem to be the most. They do the most. How do you deal with that?
Well,
particularly as it relates to the kid who's not even on that level. Are they worse than the kid who might be scratching the surface?
Way worse.
How do you deal with it?
I call it, this is called Xposure Run. Mm-hmm. I expose them. Mm. So when they get to talking like my kid is this and that, first of all, I'll be like, do you see what they do in practice? No, because you're not here in practice, because that's where it starts.
That's definitely where it starts at.
So what you do in the dark, when the light shine, you're supposed to shine brighter. So what I do, I start them, put them in the starting lineup with my best.
Right off the bat. You think your kid is good. So if Zay's playing with you and he ain't good,
yeah,
and I'm scooting, man, like I'm saying, why Zay ain't playing, bro? Like I can't. He can't get no burn. Like, can he get some time?
No, I expose him.
So you'll put him in the game?
I put him in, especially when we're playing against a top-tier team. I put them in the game.
Right off the bat.
Right off the bat. I call it exposure. So I expose the kid, and then I let him stay in our sub every last one of my players before I sub him. And then I let you see what I'm trying to tell you of what your son is doing. And then after a while, they respect it. Because it's been a lot of times I done had private conversations because I'm not a crowd guy. I don't get to rah-rah and try to argue with you in front of parents and all that. So a lot of my parents, some of them prior years and even some now, I'll pull them to the side and be like, man, I'll give them a check-in. And to this day, they respect it. They be like, man, you crazy. I'm like, no, I'm just from that, I'm cut from that cloth, but I don't front.
So it's something I want to touch on because, like you mentioned it earlier, but like to go back to the example, do you when you do that, do you have any concerns that the point you're trying to prove to the parent could eventually pull the confidence from that kid? When you put him in the game and you already know he's not going to play up to that level, the kid probably is either hearing on the car ride home or once they get home, like, oh, you should be playing da-da-da-da, and he now feeding into that shit.
Right.
So you put him in, and he don't do none of that shit. First of all, the kid already know he ain't
built.
He ain't built like that. Like the parents is producing smoke that he ain't ready for, right? But you put him in there, and he don't play well.
Right.
At all. Like he ain't playing well with the good players, and then you leave him out there with your bench to see if he can kind of lead that group. I know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I heard you, so I know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Is there a worry that could pull his confidence down because now he your point that you're proving to the parent is now unequivocally being proven to the player?
Right.
Is that a concern? Did you ever think about that? Is that a concern?
Oh yeah, I definitely do because I consult with my partner, which is Ron.
Got you.
Shout out to Ron.
Shout out to Ron.
Yeah.
He like the definite OG.
Oh yeah, Ron.
Definite OG.
Of course, Sammy, Phil, Tammy, Danisha. I can go.
The whole
Sharnella,
squad.
my whole.
You know,
board.
Sharnella helps us out too with the showcase.
Oh yeah, man, Sharnella.
She's great.
That's my sister. Her son Kendall was like my son.
Yeah,
she's great.
She's great. But go.
But I no, cause see what I do is I break you down to build you up.
Okay.
So after I do that, I talk to the kid individually because some of the kids know sometimes that their parent is annoying. So that some of them be like, man, my mom, because I have a relationship with my kids. My house is like a safe haven for a lot of kids, like hands down.
Right.
So I
once during COVID, you was having stuff in your driveway too. So go ahead.
I was training on my driveway.
I remember.
Giving kids still. So I talk to the kid during the game, after the game, and then once he see what's going on, he respects me even more, and he will say, I got to get in the gym more. I need to get in the training. I always tell people, you ain't got to train with me, but training helps you get better. You need to get in the gym.
After that situation, do you ever have to go back to revisit that conversation, or is it just one of them things like now they know, they just be quiet?
Some of them, and a few of them I had to revisit, and they'll kind of try to go off into something else and be like, well, he did this, such and such, right? I'm like, yeah, but did you see how many? Did you see he missed all that? And then, like I said, I like to keep it cool. I talk to him personally. I pull him to the side, I have my own meeting because I don't want to have a crowd because then everybody, want to get tough.
Yeah.
You know how it goes.
I do.
I do
know how it goes. So which brings me to my follow-up question. One of the things that you said that a lot of people don't know, and even I don't know the full extent of it, you said in 11th grade you didn't play because you was in the streets.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about how hard sometimes it is from having Street Scooter present himself when people testing you.
Now that's the hard part because some people to this
they don't know.
Oh, they don't.
They don't know.
And they'll say it like my people that know me. They'll be like, man, y'all don't want to go back. That's what keeps me rounded, and I thank God that I always had God, but I found them a lot more, and I have to be more patient and calm because I can go there with you, and then if I go there, it's gonna be other people that's gonna go there.
Yeah, because you got a nice little.
Oh yeah.
And people, the thing about you, right? First of all, what I notice about a lot of Chicagoans, right, or Illinoisans or whatever, is that the loudest people usually got the biggest known crowds.
Yeah.
The quietest people have the larger crowds that you don't even know is there. And so I saw one time at a game where it was a very tense game. It's the first time I kind of seen you a little animated, and I thought it was funny, just based, your size and stuff.
Right.
Like, look at Scoot over there, like he about to fuck somebody up. But I'm in the stands and I'm seeing people like,
Yeah.
oh, he good over there? Like, it was a lot. It was a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
And so a lot of people don't really realize what you got behind this curtain.
No, they don't. I always got people, and even when we out of town, my coaches and them will tell you that we go out of town, I know somebody in every state, and I'm like, they come to the games, they ready. They be in the crowd, and people be like, they'll come to, hey, who was Buddy? He over there talking crazy about you. And I'll be like, man, just leave it alone. And that's no boast to brag about it, but it's just
it's just what it is.
Just what it is.
That's what it is. You definitely talked about moving up the ranks as far as coaching goes. Do you have right now, just as far as in your mind, like a goal targeted or a targeted goal high school that if the job was open, where would you want to go?
Man.
Regardless of school.
Ooh, that's a tough one. Of course, I love my high school Hillcrest because I graduated from Prairie Hills actually. So that's
okay. So that would be a nice next step.
Oh, that'd be a nice.
Okay.
That'll be But I know Don ain't going nowhere too fast, and if he do, he got other people.
He definitely got a nice little lineage in line.
So it's but I would love to Hillcrest. I applied for the Crete job before Jawan got it. Shout out to him. Yeah,
he's doing a good job over there.
But people look at me like, who am I? Even though I've been on the basketball scene forever.
For a long time.
Yeah, it's just it's one thing about Illinois, and I know I see you notice a little bit of, it's a lot of politics and names.
It's politics in everything here.
Yeah.
It's politics in politics.
Yeah.
It's politics in basketball. It's politics in football.
Yes.
It's politics in working in schools.
Yes.
It's shit. I mean, even the shit that we doing is politics in this.
Politics, man. So it's kind of tough, but if and when God's will I win my second, what can they say? You got to give me a
They shouldn't be saying shit since you won your first, but.
And I got a lot of kids. Like I can bring kids and get kids and train kids and help kids get better. Like I got on the scene right now, I got like 4 or 5 at Rich Township. Shamar Burris, of course,
Oh yeah.
He's been with me since 1st, 2nd grade.
Yes, I remember.
Trained him and playing with him. Who else? I got of course AJ Abrams, man.
Mm-hmm.
People sleep on
I
him.
just seen that he got injured.
He broke his foot. He's like I'm real close to his mom and dad. Shout out to AV and his mom. I got 5 over at Eisenhower that started. I got 4 or 5 at Rich Township. I got kids at Crete, Bremen. I got kids all over that play for me, that train. Don't nobody know who they are, but they dogs.
Yeah.
But they don't want to respect them because the name is not what the name is, or they play for God's gift, So it's like you got to play for the Main Streets and the Fire. Respect to them, especially Mike, the Irvins. I grew up with them.
Okay.
So
shout out to Mike.
That's family,
We saw him last night too. How are you developing these kids and preparing them for high school?
By making them work and understand and hold themselves accountable, and telling them you got to work. You think this is something. When you get to high school, it's gonna be way worse. So that's why I say I work on a lot of them mentally. Like it's another kid we got over there. His name Jeremiah Weatherford.
Okay.
He another dog right beside Darius. A lot of people don't pay attention to him, but
he was the co-MVP, right?
Yeah, co-MVP.
Yeah,
but he's a dog. So what I do, I make them work. I make them run. I get on their case. I even get on Darius when Darius messing up. When I'm coaching, I'm not your friend. But off the court, we laugh and joke. But I get on him when he messing up. So let him know. So when they get to high school, they can't say that they haven't learned nothing coming from Prairie Hills.
How easy is it when you talk about getting on the Darius and the other young man, Weatherford, when you getting on them, right? How easy is it for you to be able to get on the other players when your star players are receptive to your coaching, your hard coaching?
So how easy?
How easy?
Very easy, because it let them know it's no favoritism. It's no favoritism, because I got a nephew that play on my team. His name is Jay Sean Green.
Okay.
He number 10. He's a third. It's Darius, Jeremiah, and my nephew.
Okay.
So we kind of, I coach him a lot harder.
Of course. Remember how I used to coach Zay?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, and sometimes he don't understand and can't take it, but He's trying to use that too, the Darius factor. But I get on Darius too, and Darius tell him like, y'all think he just. No, he gets on me too. Even I get on him in front of the team, or sometimes you got to talk to your kids in
private. This generation of kids sometimes can't take that outwardly in front of everybody redirection. Yeah. No matter how you give it, you can mentally say, you know what, I'm not even going to yell and scream.
Yeah.
And you just want to redirect them. They can't. Sometimes they can't even take that.
They can't understand. It's constructive criticism, but they can't take it. They shut down. They pout. They cry. And I told them. I always tell them, you never know who's watching. Coaches are watching. Your body language is everything.
Everything.
You have to have a good spirit. You have to get up, shake your teammates' hand. I always tell my kids, whenever the kids are doing bad, don't put them down. Clap it up. If you give them some courage, then they'll play harder for you. And I talked to, to piggyback on it, I talked to Cheryl and Tommy about it. Darius have changed a lot from last year to this year because it ain't just because of me, of course, but I know a little part of playing it because I talked to him mentally, told him, man, you get your team involved a lot more, it's making you look even better because everybody know you can score the ball.
Yeah, right.
You can dribble the ball,
right.
But your passes are just as better as scoring. The hockey assist is the best thing. And one thing about that kid, he listens and he digests it. And
implements.
Implement it.
Talk about your training, your business. Talk about what's your overall goal when you're training a player. You get a player in, obviously. I mean, just from knowing you already know what a kid can do, just based off of your IQ of a player. Mm-hmm. Just kind of talk about what is. And I know it differs from player to player based off their skill set, but what is the overall goal that you have when you are training a player?
Overall goal is to make them better than I found them. And I have a lot of kids like this. Sometimes I get kids in there that can't dribble the ball, got 2 left feet, don't know how to do anything. But each year since I started training, every child that I have that didn't make their team that year made the team the next year.
I remember that was something that you talked about early on when I first started coming to you. That was a part of your verbiage to the players because you had players in here that didn't make their team. I remember.
Yeah, and they make their team. So sometimes I got to start over with a whole new array of kids because all my kids made their school teams. I got right now I got a first grader. I've been training for 4 months now. He's on the 5th grade team. Mm. So I have kids that's 3rd and 4th grade. They be playing with the 6th and 7th graders. Some of my freshmen come in playing JV or varsity. So that's my overall goal is to get you better than I found you, and also make you not only just a great player but a greater player. So my motto is, if you bad, the good make the good, better. If you're great, the great make the great greater. So you moves up. So you teach. As I'm teaching, you also teaching. So I let some people lead my class. Like the ones that started low, I move them up to the front. Now they doing all the drills. Mm-hmm. I'm also developing leaders. It ain't just about basketball, because life is a part of basketball, but it's about being a leader and making it.
I always said that basketball is probably the one sport that is as close to mimicking real life than any other sport.
Right.
Now, every other sport does teach teamwork and camaraderie and all that, but I feel like basketball is probably the closest to just life lessons as far as teamwork and working together and moving and unison and all that. I just feel like that's just the case. And I wasn't that. Football was my sport. I dominated in football. Xavier, and I've always said this, from as early on as I can remember, has always been better than me at basketball from his age. Mustafa at 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, all the way up to 19. Xavier far out skilled me in basketball, far out skilled me. But I would have beat him in certain areas because I was tougher. I was a lot tougher than he is and definitely was. But from a skill set, if he was mature enough to understand that we ever played each other at the same ages, he would have won just off his skill alone. But he wasn't smart enough to understand just little thing. He got it now, but back then, nah. I definitely would have beat him. Could you play for you?
Yep, I sure can.
Okay.
Yeah, I sure can. I mean, because I was a hard-nosed player, and I coach hard, but I love hard. But I also, every moment is a teachable moment.
Every single one.
Yeah.
Every single one. Talk about your playing days. Who you give buckets to? Name them.
Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah, you trying to make me go way back. I remember we was playing against Rich East, and we was down a lot, and they put me in the game, and I brought us back to win the championship. But I gave some buckets to Ye.
Okay.
You know, that's how me and him became, you know, cool. He remember me. Who else? Terrell Robinson. One time he used to play for Creek. Terrell was another dog. He blocked my shot into the basketball hoop. I was going to lay it up, but he blocked it in. But I came back down, scored on him again. So it's a few players, man. They'll tell you like, no, Scooter.
He gave buckets to?
Man, he was tough. It's funny. I used to be the first pick out of most of the people. We go out there, be like, man, I'm taking Scooter. Or they'll be like, I'm not sticking him. Or so yeah, I was kind of a problem. Man,
okay. Who gave you buckets? Give us a player who gave you buckets.
Man, that's hard. That's kind of tough right now, man. Because I've been out of school for about 30 years now plus. So it's there was a few players, man. It was this one kid, man. It was a white kid. He played. I want to say either it was Bremen or I forgot his name. McFarland.
Okay.
His name, and I was at Oak Forest.
Okay.
He was a tough out, man, because he could shoot the ball, dribble. He was a total package.
Okay.
He was a total package.
Okay. Name your favorite all-time NBA starting five and 1 6 man.
Ooh. Jordan.
Okay.
Magic.
Okay.
Kobe.
Okay.
Elijah Wan.
That's 4.
Man. I got so many I can. Ooh, that's tough. I'm gonna go with Giannis.
Okay.
And my 6th man will be AI. One of my favorite players.
That does not surprise me at all.
My favorite.
Mine is AI, Kobe, Jordan, Shaq, and Elijah Wan.
Yeah.
And my 6th man is Jamal Crawford.
Oh, yeah. JC was he?
Yeah.
He's still a legend.
Yeah,
right
definitely. Last two. One question, one comment. In Islam, you know that I'm Muslim. We believe our children pick us as parents. Talk about knowing that your children picked you as a father, and just kind of talk about family overall and what they mean to you.
How I know my kids pick me, how much they show love and affection. They're very respectful towards me. They listen. I'm very, very family oriented. I love my family like I'm like one of the younger cousins, but the older cousins, like
So
the younger generation.
You got a nice little middle ground there.
But everybody on both sides, all sides of my family, they come to me like if they don't mess with people, if I'm doing something, they'll say they coming through, because of me, or they come to me for advice. Even some of the older cousins, younger cousins. So I think God placed me because He placed you with your family. So He placed me as the person to be the glue for my whole entire family, and I don't take it lightly. I don't boast about it. I always a helping hand. I'm always willing to go the extra mile for my family. Like even sometimes when I shouldn't, but sometimes you gotta. I always pray on everything because it helps me know where I need to go with it.
Okay. My last thing, I'd like you to give yourself a future message. When you look back on this video, you're playing on the internet as a reel somewhere 5, 10, 15 years down the line, like what do you want to tell yourself in the future?
Stay consistent. Always believe in yourself. Never give up. Keep God first. And whatever happens, have a short memory and keep moving.
I cannot stress enough how much I appreciate you coming on the show. I know, we've been trying to get you on the show, and we finally made it happen. A lot of people don't realize this our behind the scenes relationship.
No.
First of all, he is the official yet unofficial godfather of Zayden.
Yep.
Every time I post, and it's so funny too. Here's the crazy thing: is that every time I post something of Ziggy, it's almost like the algorithm purposely lets you see his stuff.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times I know that you don't see all of my posts.
No, I don't.
And it just so happens that you're usually within the first 3 to 5 people that will comment anytime I post something of Ziggy. And that's been your guy since we've been bringing him to the Master Center in the stroller.
Baby. When you sent me his pictures the other a few weeks ago, was that right there. I take that to heart, bro.
And when I got those pictures, of course, after a few family members and stuff, and there's still a few family members that don't have those pictures. But as I'm sending them to her mom, I sent it to my mother. I think I sent it to Zay. And as I'm like scrolling, like, all right, which family member I'm gonna send it to now? And the rest of them can wait till the actual pictures come. I'm like, oh shit, let me Scooter. And so I sent it to her, and I knew it was gonna be a pleasant surprise. Yet, I just wanted to let you know, like, I know how you feel about Ziggy.
Yeah.
I know that's your guy,
Yes.
and I definitely appreciate. I mean, even Zay, like I know Zay is your guy as well, but as a father, and I know you could kind of speak to this as a father, like you really appreciate when you have other fathers that have not just like-mindedness for your children, but like know that if something was to happen to me, or I'm not there, and you may see them somewhere, I know that you would take care of them. I know that you would have their back. You would be a part of that village that would look out for them if I'm ever off the scene. So that is important in our community. Yeah. And I just want to let you know, I know but I just want to let you know that I appreciate that.
I appreciate you. I appreciate being on the show. I appreciate you finally getting me on the show, because I know you're a busy man, and I respect it. But I'm really grateful and thankful for this opportunity to speak about Prairie Hills, and of course God's gift, and a lot of other stuff. Man.
One last thing I do want to do, I should have did it in the beginning, just kind of talk a little bit about just the platform and what in your mind, or what you think the platform means to the basketball community.
This Xposure Run?
Yes.
Just what it is, exposure. And it, for people that don't know about certain people, you will get to know about certain people, because y'all are pretty big with it. I remember when you first started, and the exposure that you're giving to people that came before me and myself. People now will know who Lachon, Scooter Nichols is, God's gift is. Well, Prairie Hills right now is a big topic right now for a lot of basketball world. So that's been, Prairie Hills always been on the map, but it's on the map even bigger now, with what we have over there.
Y'all doing a good job over there, you and your coaching staff, and shout out to the administration for giving you that opportunity. I hope they understand, how big it is to have you over there, because the success that they're having, while Prairie Hills has been successful, to be able to continue that success, you got to have the right people in there, and clearly they struck gold when they got you over there.
Oh yeah, oh man, I'm grateful to be there, man. Like I said, I thank Coach Boyd, our AD, Jaleel Muhammad, Coach Dre. Those guys, we work together, man, and we try to keep these kids on straight street, and we here for a common goal, and that's to win state.
We're definitely gonna pop over there before the season is out, and try to make sure that we are seeing those games. I know y'all get a lot of the videographers in there to kind of just pretty much highlight. I mean, let's just say what it is. They're there to highlight Darius and the success that the team is having overall. But my guy Bo also provides, live streaming as well. To be able to get in there and live stream y'all games, like complete games where coaches can see, and I know a lot of college coaches, we just kind of living in just some weird times as it relates to the transfer portal, and just, you got to be a special talent for a college coach to kind of see you now and as a grammar schooler. However, it will be nice to have the opportunity to see some of these kids now, so you can kind of just have them in the back of your mind as they are progressing through high school. So Bo does definitely offer that. So it's something that Prairie Hills can definitely, write that check for at some point to get his services over there.
We here. I already talked to him, and we exchange, information.
Good.
Because I told him what I'm doing with my God's gift.
As well as
because he said he reached out to us for the Chicago Bulls. I didn't know that was him that did it to play at the stadium, and we was waiting for that, but we had to cancel some games because our schedule is heavy.
Got you.
And Darius, by him being who he is, and then we got other kids that high schools are looking at. We're a hot commodity right now.
Oh, yeah, y'all are.
And, you know, like I said, I thank God that the position he put me in right now, I'm loving and enjoying the ride, and I'm just enjoying helping kids. Because I've been, I've been doing it for a while. Jacoby, Quinn, I can name countless of kids,
the
man.
Boys, shout out to them and their family.
That been there.
Well, I can tell you that Darius and his family, as well as the rest of the team, they have the right person to protect them. Like it's crazy now when you talk about the politics of Chicago basketball and everything in between. People are in it for the wrong reasons. They want to coattail these kids to a check.
Yep.
And so Prairie Hills and all of those players, and God's gift and all of those players and parents, they have someone who is doing it for the right reasons, which is why we do it. Like a lot of stuff that we do, we do out of pocket.
Yeah.
We don't,
Yeah.
them showcases that I throw,
Yeah.
that stuff is free.
Oh, man, I know. I believe me, I
So,
know.
like, when you got somebody that's doing it for the right reasons, God will find a way to pay you back on the back end. And if not, for me, if what I've done on earth, so in Islam we believe that when you die, when you get put in the ground, your angels come to you.
Yes.
And they ask you, or they let you know basically, whether you're going to heaven or hell. And if one of these deeds that I'm doing is the tipping scale, like if my joint right there in the middle and it's like, you know what, but remember when he did?
Yeah.
And it tips me that, like, cool, that's my payback.
Yeah.
That's how I was raised, though.
No,
that's how my mother and father raised me.
Same thing. That's my belief that the things that I do, I go off my heart. So I believe the things that I do, because that's what God judges you off of. In my mind, he will say, well done, my good and faithful servant. And that's exactly what I do. I always tell my God's gift family because I pay for a lot of kids sometimes that don't have money.
I know.
And I even now I see at Prairie Hill sometimes I get kids stuff that people don't know that I do, shoes and stuff. So it's not about the show. It's just about he sees it. He's writing it down. My riches is not here.
Your angel's definitely writing it down, bro.
Yeah.
They are definitely, Scooter, okay, he done bought 2 pairs of sneakers.
Yeah.
Okay, he done fast somebody. They writing that stuff down.
Oh, man,
They writing that stuff down.
I truly believe it, and I thank God every day, and I just ask him to use me as a tool and an instrument every day.
You're doing a great job, bro, man. I really appreciate you, and I love you, man. Like, for real.
Man,
Like,
I love you too, brother.
I think you're doing a fantastic job. I definitely want to give a shout out to my guy Bo, like who has been he's slowly becoming one of my best friends over there.
Oh,
no,
man.
yeah,
Check us out, man.
That's my guy over there.
Man,
That's my guy.
He had very much. As soon as I walked through the door, you want something to drink? It was just showing me everything.
Guy,
he is, man. He is.
This is my guy, man. He works really hard for his family. His wife is an artist, so he does
he
a
was
lot
telling
of
me.
He
just told me everything you said. He was just telling me,
He got his hands on a lot of stuff going on, and he works overnight. He don't get a lot of sleep. This is my guy, man. This is my guy. Shout out to Derek Ellison and Tyree Booker. They have always been supporters of the podcast, but more than anything, they are the reason we actually started the entire platform.
DL.
Yep, that's my guy. Shout out to SVI. Anthony and Grant Leach are sponsors. Created the banner, got me laced up in my gear here. You know what I'm saying? As well as Ryan Foran, who is my partner with the Chi-Town Showcase, when we got the Unsigned Senior event coming up in March. And so, one last thing I do want to say, right, with Scooter, and this is how I know Scooter, he really fucks with me, is that for the last 2, I've only done 2, the last 2 major showcase events I've done, and even some of the smaller stuff I've done, but the 2 showcases, Scooter has he never overwhelms me with put this kid in, can I get this kid in? But he'll hit me up do you have room for another kid? And I'm like, well, I'll try to get in. But even if I'm not able to get him in, because Scooter usually hits me up, and then he's hearing this for the first time. He usually hits me up after I done kind of got everything together. And it's and it's one of them, oh shit, I've been meaning to hit Moo up to see if I can get a kid in. And I always feel bad because I'm always like, damn, I already got the group, but let me see if I can get somebody in. And it never works out, right? But he never holds that against me. He never man, he didn't get my kid in there. He still shows love to what we're doing. And so I really appreciate that.
Man, I appreciate you just taking the call. Like I said, I try to get some of my kids in because don't nobody give them notice, but they dogs, man, and if I could, I'd give shout out to my God's gift family, Ron, Lester, Sammy,
don't forget nobody,
Phil, Charnella, Denisha, Tammy, the Hetty family, the Abrams, AV, and Treese, man. I love y'all. My boy Shamar, AJ, my son Devion Nichols, of course, David, Ayipe, Cam. I can go on and on, but I just want to let y'all know I appreciate y'all having my back. Y'all always believing in me, trusting me, and making sure my hands is held up high. So I just want to tell y'all I love y'all and I appreciate y'all. And the main shout out to my family that deals with me with this coaching, and my wife Angie, who also deals with the headache of having all the kids in my house and gotta feed and do things. So I just want to give a shout out to
our women, our wives are unsung heroes
Oh my God,
when it comes to this coaching
sure,
or basketball or just even what we're doing and all of that. And shout out to your entire staff, of course, Ron, Sammy, Charnella, just me having my direct relationship with individually with all of them. They've always been always show me love. Ron just having like that OG-ness.
OG. That's
OG,
man.
Sammy, and I remember his boys, and just, with Zay. And then Charnella, Charnella was if I'm not mistaken, I met Charnella when I came for the tryouts, and I paid the money.
Yeah.
She was the one who I paid. And then when I started doing the showcases, Charnella just kind of reached out, like, hey, do you need some help with anything? And I'm like, you know what? I do.
Yeah.
I do need some help. And this is how it happened. She came to the showcase, the first one, and just jumped right in and started doing stuff.
That's her.
And just kind of like organized shit. And I'm like, I need that.
Yeah.
And we were planning for her to come back, and then unfortunately she was unable to come. Something happened. I think she had a death in her family.
She had quite a few deaths.
So she was unable to come, but I just want to let Charnella know, like, I really appreciate, and she always reaches out at the perfect moment.
Right on time, always.
Always right on time.
Yeah.
And she knows, like, it's like, I got you. I got
I got three of them like that.
And she didn't come in, but she sent water.
Oh yeah.
She sent water and Gatorade. I think she sent water and Gatorade, but I know she's great.
No, she the best, man.
Great.
Her, Tammy, and Denisha. I got three on my staff. I love them women. They take care of me.
Oh, I bet.
Take care.
So thanks for coming on the show, bro, man. I appreciate
you, brother. Love you, brother.
Yeah, you too, man.
All right, man.